Slam Dunk Reborn. I drew Akashi's Emperor Eye System. Welcome funds. Enjoy exclusive audiobook experiences right here. Check out my website for more episodes and audiobooks. Links are in the description. Episode 041, first round of the county tournament. Shohoko lost to Ryonan with an impressive 18 blocks. Cold sweat slowly slid down Akagi's forehead. What's going on? I always feel something is wrong. Ryonan no 13's defense is so weird. Akagi turned his head and glanced at Ryonan number 13, only to see that he had a smile on his face. When he noticed his gaze, his face suddenly darkened and he said coldly, "As expected of a gorilla, you are the strongest I have ever seen under my defense." Then, Tachibana Nijiro's face was full of unwillingness. "One more time, I don't believe that I can't completely block you." Akagi. "Ha, block me? Come and try if you have the ability." Akagi gradually got excited in Tachibana Nijiro's praise and provocation, especially the word, "as expected of a gorilla." A few minutes later, "Come and see the dunk? Damn it, I will never let you touch the next ball again." "Almost there. Only one step away, you can score points in a row." Tachibana Nijiro threw out the bait of not helping in time from time to time, playing with Akagi. He completely forgot that he was actually facing Ryonan's backup center and Ryonan number 13 at the same time, and it was a simple and rough 1v2 head-on dunk duel. Damn it. The continuous high-intensity aerial confrontation and Ryonan no 13's help defense made Akagi's physical strength drain faster and faster. The most important thing is that although he scored a lot of points, the gap did not show any signs of narrowing. And the opposite side. "Great, gorilla, you almost dunked me again." This kind of confrontation is the most attractive part of playing basketball. Akagi. This kid, his intuition must be right. Although he didn't know what it was, Ryonan no 13's words and eyes revealed a strong malice. At this time, all the audience was stunned. What a great match. Shohoko's center, what a great dunk. Although I don't like his gorilla-like roar, his dunks are really great. It's just, I always feel like something is wrong. Amidst the cheers, some spectators who often watch the game felt something was wrong. And in the corner of the audience stand, after watching the attack and defense between Tachibana Nijiro and Akagi, Shinichi Maki couldn't help but show a rather strange expression. "What's wrong with this kid?" Just then, a slightly cold voice sounded from behind him. Number 13 did it on purpose. His words, his actions, and even the substitutions in the second half were all to allow Akagi to attack the basket directly. Although there were many blocks, the slowed-down assisting pace in order to keep Akagi from attacking allowed the opponent to maintain a 50% hit rate. Number 13 can see through the opponent's pattern and defend more effectively, but I don't know why he chose such a mess. This freshman probably has a bad personality and likes to play tricks on opponents or show off his data. Shinichi Maki looked back and saw Fujima, who was wearing a green team uniform, with his arms folded across his chest, coming to a distance from him. Although he felt that Fujima's conclusion was a bit arbitrary, he still nodded. You are still so sharp, Fujima. By the way, has the coach's problem been solved?" Fujima Kenji shook his head. "No, there is no need to solve it." In the audience, Fujima Kenji's evaluation of Tachibana Nijiro was not known to Tachibana, but if he knew, he would definitely yell, "No one is cheating, what do you know?" Card voucher mission, reward loading, get reward, card draw voucher times 1 foot. Hey tilde. The fourth quarter begins. Akagi is obviously exhausted, which is expected. Unlike Tachibana Nijiro's style of assisting, Akagi, as the only offensive and defensive core of Shohoko, has to go all out in both offense and defense, which naturally consumes much more physical energy, not to mention the previous wave of consecutive confrontations. Ryonan substitute small forward Takitomi Tomo, after receiving the ball, broke through and shot a mid-range shot. Akagi gasped and tried his best to grab it. Snap tilde. The fingertips brushed past. The ball hit the edge of the basket and bounced up again. Although it was a little off, it was within the range of Ryonan's substitute center. Shindy Kazunari grabbed the rebound over Akagi's head when he was going back to grab the rebound. But, under the fierce eyes of the opponent, the substitute third-year senior hesitated for a moment, and then was shrouded in the gorilla's defensive suppression. "Give it to me." When Shindy Kazunari was thinking about how to deal with the ball, a voice without hesitation suddenly sounded behind him. Although he didn't see anyone, Shinnade Kazunari knew it was Tachibana Kojiro without even looking, because whenever this voice sounded, the team under his command could score in a smooth way. Therefore, when he heard this highly recognizable voice, his body had already reacted before his mind. He passed the ball with both hands, a very basic but stable pass, and handed the ball to Tachibana Kojiro. The next second, Shinnade Kazunari turned around and saw an agile and powerful figure soaring into the air, waving his arms quickly, grabbing the ball with one arm and grabbing the basket. Bang tilde. The sound of metal hitting the basket echoed throughout the stadium, and then the audience saw that the ball passed through the net, fell to the ground with a bang, and bounced high again. The whole stadium was silent. A few seconds later, the cheers in the audience were deafening. So high. Tachibana Nijiro's offense is also super strong. But, after such a long game, he still has the energy to jump like this? He is a point guard, and his assist style is very energy-saving, right? The whole forearm is almost above the basket. So amazing. This dunk immediately made the whole audience boil. After all, even a layman can see how fierce that kind of fierce dunk is. In sharp contrast to the noise outside the court, Shohoko was silent. Akagi's physical strength was at the bottom, coupled with the terrible score difference, he was a little panicked at this time. Whoosh tilde. Ryonan High School, substitute point guard Isogai Yoji made a mid-range shot. Shohoko's shooting guard casually hung his arms at his side, watching the ball fly past him, but did nothing. Coach Anzai, looking at the players' faces gradually becoming numb, finally frowned slightly. Don't give up hope until the last moment. This sentence is simple to say, but it is very difficult to achieve unity of knowledge and action. It requires will and faith that ordinary people can hardly imagine. If the players of Shohoko all have such will and faith, there will not be only Akagi and Kogyo still running. In fact, the stronger the team, the stronger the will. On the contrary, the more ordinary, the more acceptable. So, the strong will always be strong, and the weak will always be weak. Of course, this, strong, and weak, simply refer to will. Not long after, with the referee's whistle, the game was declared over. The game is over, Ryonan High School versus Shohoko High School, the score is 124-59, Ryonan High School won. Both sides walked to the center circle, stood in a row, and shook hands with each other. Kogyo said to Tachibana Nijiro with tears in his eyes, "Thank you for your advice," while Akagi, with trembling lips, squeezed Tachibana Nijiro's hand tighter and tighter. Your name? Tachibana Nijiro, senior, it hurts. Senior, a freshman. In the first round of the county tournament, Shohoko lost to Ryonan High School and was eliminated in the first round. But in the first half of the game, Akagi completely suppressed Yuzumi in all aspects, which was impressive, and what was even more impressive was Ryonan number 13 who played the whole game. His super passing and attacking and defensive abilities made him lead the substitute lineup in the second half, and still played the same suppression as the first half. Especially, the 18 blocked shots that were overwhelming throughout the game. Comments. Episode 042, Shinichi Maki won't talk to me from this angle. Ticket mission. In the first round of the county tournament against Shohoko High School, you can get a card draw ticket for each block you complete. Ticket mission has been completed, rewards loaded. Get reward, card draw ticket by 18 feet. Pool mission, defeat the opponent in the first round of the county tournament against Shohoko High School and win the game. Pool mission has been completed, rewards loaded. Limited time, shoot a player, pool has been opened. When the Ryonan players left the stadium, the audience cheered for Tachibana Nijiro. Taroka Moichi saw this scene and couldn't help but smile. Just look at the audience's reaction and you will know that this time, it is definitely their chance to enter the national team and move to a higher level. In the stadium, as soon as Tachibana Nijiro left the field, he was surrounded by several reporters, and then under the intimidation of Aida Yayui's eyes, Tachibana Nijiro walked directly in front of her for an interview. After the end, when he walked through the player tunnel, many people looked at him frequently. Back in the locker room, Tachibana Nijiro simply packed up, and then immersed himself in the system. The rewards for this game, the current number of card coupons, a total of 18 draws, can't wait to open the card pool. The familiar gold card unknown, the familiar 3 purples around, the familiar uneven strength of the purple cards, Sakurai Ryo, Mabuchi Ryo, and Koganai Shinji. As soon as he saw Koganai, Tachibana Nijiro immediately had an ominous premonition. Then let's just do a simple 10 draw. Whoosh tilde, whoosh tilde, whoosh tilde. As Tachibana Nijiro's eyes gradually calmed down, 10 cards flew out of the card pool in a row, neatly appearing in front of him, and then, just like dominoes, they were opened one by one. Clang tilde, clang tilde, clang tilde. Amid the continuous buzzing, purple appeared, and explosively, 3 purples appeared in a 10 draw. That is, the cards all have Seirin uniforms. And the number 6. Sure enough, Shinji Koganai. Player, Seirin Shinji Koganai, initial up pointing arrow. Skills, Wild Bobcat, initial up pointing arrow. Wide range shooting, initial up pointing arrow. Wild Bobcat, initial up pointing arrow, plays by instinct through high concentration on the opponent. Wide range shooting, initial up pointing arrow, shooting range is wide, can shoot from any position within the 3-point line, and has all the basics of all moves, but the hit rate is very low. Tachibana Nijiro. Tachibana Nijiro, really? You are proficient in everything, but you are poor, and you have 3 of these at once. There are 3 Koganai in total, which means that you can use the extra 2 to upgrade one of them. If you upgrade the attributes, it doesn't make much sense based on Koganai's ridiculously low basic attributes. Wildness, we have Kagami, and Koganai's wildness, Wildcat. This thing is also difficult to evaluate, because in Tachibana Nijiro's memory, Koganai's wildness is really just a simple cat, at most a wildcat. The only one that can be upgraded is the last, wide-range shooting. Zhen tilde. Wide-range shooting, middle up pointing arrow, wide shooting range, can shoot from any position within the 3-point line. All the basics of all moves are also known, but the hit rate is not high. Zhen tilde. Wide-range shooting, high, wide shooting range, can shoot from any position within the 3-point line. All the basics of all moves are also known, but the hit rate is average. From elementary right pointing arrow middle right pointing arrow high, the last description of the hit rate is also from very low right pointing arrow not high right pointing arrow average. The description is very vague, the specific difference needs further verification. Tachibana Nijiro took a bath, which took a long time, but no one urged him. Because after this relatively easy victory, the Ryonan players, especially the seniors, who really felt the potential of Ryonan this year, were all talking excitedly. Taroka Moichi, who also had a higher goal in mind, had planned to watch the remaining few games of the first round today before returning to school. So when Tachibana Nijiro finished washing up, he found that there was no one in the locker room. After asking the staff, he learned that everyone had gone to the audience to watch the game. Tachibana Nijiro. What's so good about the first round? Seeded teams like Kainan and Shoyo don't have to play in the previous rounds. They start directly from 8 to 4. Now there's nothing to watch. Thinking of Kainan, Tachibana Nijiro was indeed curious. This year, if I remember correctly, Kainan's strength was defeated by Sendoh 113-83 in the national semifinals and stopped in the top 4. This score, when Sendoh already has Sawakita, feels very strong. With this as a reference, you can roughly know what level Sendoh is. Coming out of the locker room, and opening the door, just as it was opened a crack, Tachibana Nijiro heard something that made him very unhappy. 18 blocks? The best new player this year? Hey tilde. How stupid would you have to be blocked that many times by a point guard? HMPH. Tachibana Nijiro tilde. I know it all too well. We were on the same team in junior high school. When we meet Nonishi Ryozo in the next game, I will make sure he knows how powerful I am now. The arrogant and conceited tone. If Tachibana Nijiro didn't know that Muradai would be eliminated by Kainan in the quarterfinals this year, he would have thought he was meeting Murasame Kengo. Click tilde. Tachibana Nijiro pushed the door open and walked out. Don't think about it. You're a shooting guard. Try to solve another candidate for the best newcomer in Ryonan. I think his name is Akira Sendoh. TSK. Does that weekly basketball reporter really know basketball? What nonsense. This year's best newcomer must be me, Nonishi Ryozo. Maybe I can be selected into the All-NBA team in my first year like Shinichi Maki. It doesn't make sense that if Shinichi Maki can do it, I can do it. Nonishi Ryozo's words turned into a blank void in the sudden change of vision. Immediately afterwards, bang tilde, he fell to the ground. Tachibana Nijiro, the evil boy, skillfully launched both physically and mentally. After passing Nonishi Ryozo, he walked a few steps and seemed to have just noticed him. He turned around and walked over with a surprised look on his face. When he came to the other side, he smiled very kindly. Tilde. Isn't this Nonishi Ryozo? Sorry, I didn't notice it. Looking down, the moment he crouched slightly, his expression suddenly turned into Hanamiya's gloomy expression, and whispered in Nonishi Ryozo's ear in a voice that no one else could hear. After all, Shinichi Maki won't talk to me from this angle. Episode 043, the feeling of throwing the ball is completely based on the shooting attributes, and it is played out stably. The next day, Ryonan High School. Although he and Sendoh were assigned to different teams, under the arrangement of Coach Taroka, the two of them almost completely staggered their travel times, so Tachibana Nijiro did not encounter much challenge on the defensive end, which allowed him to devote all his energy to offense and focus on making passes for his teammates. In order to help Yuzumi regain confidence, he also came to this game with a coaching mission. Because Yuzumi was on his side, Tachibana Nijiro had no shortage of scoring points. Tachibana Nijiro's skills were fully activated, and under his connection, he completely occupied the advantage on the court. Soon, Tachibana Nijiro's blue team took advantage of the quarter when Sendoh was rotating and led by a lot of points. Taroka Moichi on the sideline smiled from ear to ear, because Tachibana Nijiro was in such a great state. A point guard who was active in defense and passed the ball first was really a treasure given by God to Ryonan. Coupled with Sendoh's explosive scoring ability, Taroka Moichi felt that he was so close to the championship. 109–89. The blue team defeated Sendoh's red team without a single blow. Akira Sendoh. We lost again. Although I still got 47 points. But the team just couldn't win. Looking at Tachibana Nijiro, who was laughing and joking with Uozumi on the other side, wanting Uozumi to get out of the haze of being suppressed by Akagi in the first game as soon as possible, Sendoh thought so. So, considering Uozumi's situation, the coach arranged Uozumi on Tachibana's side, and was sure that he couldn't beat Tachibana now. Sendoh looked up at the basket above his head. Thoughtfully. On the other side, card ticket mission. In the second round of the county tournament against Ryonan High School, suppress Nonishi Ryozo's score to single digits. Achievement reward, draw card tickets ×10. Card pool mission, defeat the opponent in the second round of the county tournament against Ryonan High School and win the game. Achievement reward, open the limited time, non-staff player, card pool. Just when Tachibana Nijiro was wondering what the non-staff player was, the captain Funabashi Daisuke came up with a cheerful face. Tachibana, you're going to play against Ryonan next game . Should we teach that freshman a lesson? I heard that guy has been shouting and telling everyone that he is the strongest rookie or something. And, are you really teammates in junior high school? He said that when you were in junior high school, you could only get a few points as a substitute in each game. By the way, what did you do to Nonishi Ryozo? When I ran into you that day, I felt that his face was about to explode. After hearing what Funabashi Daisuke said, the others also gathered around. Ha 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 . Really? I thought so too. Needless to say, it must be that Tachibana made him angry. How do you say that word, sarcastic? Tachibana Nijiro nodded and said indifferently, it's okay, just beat them. Senior, remember to give me the ball next time. Funabashi Daisuke patted his chest and smiled. Don't worry, you can play as you like in the next game, and it's best to come up with something that surprises us more. Sendoh was immersed in his own thoughts and didn't say anything, just gave Tachibana Nijiro an okay gesture. Tachibana Nijiro looked around, and his teammates were encouraging him to fight back. Ah, if you say so, then I can try out the actual performance of Koganai. In the training match just now, Uzumi didn't shoot much in order to regain his confidence. Soon, the second round of the county competition in Ryonan. Although there is no video evidence of Nonishi Ryozo's ability, Ryonan still has basic research. He is a 185 cm shooting guard with excellent dribbling and a good grasp of the rhythm of change of direction breakthroughs. Breakthrough layups and mid-range pull-up jumpers are his main means of scoring. And, although this guy is arrogant, to be honest, Tachibana Nijiro is the least afraid of playing with his brain. On the offensive end, there is Akashi's command tower, and on the defensive end, there is Hanamiya's team analysis spiderweb. Put these two together, Tachibana Nijiro doesn't know how the opponent can win by playing with his brain. On the scene, as soon as he entered the stadium, Tachibana Nijiro saw the conspicuous cheering group of Ryonan High School. They were conspicuous because they were different from the neat and uniform team of Ryonan. They looked quite sloppy and wild. During the warm-up on the court, Ryonan students booed. For high school basketball, such scenes are rare. Uzumi, who was sullen, was worried that Tachibana Nijiro would be affected. Tachibana, don't mind it. Unexpectedly, Tachibana Nijiro smiled happily. I was a little reluctant at first, but now it's good. I will let him know what cruelty is. Uozumi. I didn't expect Tachibana Nijiro to think so. Thinking of his confusion after the last game, he felt a little ashamed. The game started. Uzumi won the jump ball without any surprise over Ryonan center. After Tachibana Nijiro got the ball, he began to advance steadily. Nonishi Ryozo swung directly from shooting guard to point guard to defend Tachibana. If it was normal, Tachibana Nijiro would ask for a screen or pass to Sendoh to open up space. But this time, Tachibana Nijiro directly made a gesture to open up. The whole audience was in an uproar. However, it was because of the loud shouting from Ryonan High School that the whole audience was in an uproar. Huh? Open up and single out our Nonishi Ryozo? Who does this kid think he is? Nonishi, kill him. I bet this ignorant guy will be killed by Nonishi soon. Idiot. The students of Ryonan High School at the scene began to make a noise, but soon something happened to slap their faces. Tachibana Nijiro held the ball and threatened 3 times, using his footsteps to test Nonishi Ryozo. The opponent's defense was very cautious and never lost his position. Tachibana Nijiro skillfully, perfectly controlled, and defeated Nonishi Ryozo's attack. When approaching the 45-degree right side of the free throw line, Tachibana Nijiro suddenly retreated with his hips. Then, Kogani eyes, wide-range shot. Nonishi Ryozo wanted to jump up to block the shot but was powerless. Tachibana Nijiro's shooting point was already quite far away from the defender, and he could only watch the basketball pass over his head. Swish! Hollow shot. Tachibana Nijiro. This feeling. Is this an average hit rate? The 45-degree shooting position on the right was not his hot zone before, but now, it feels like the ball he throws is completely based on the shooting attribute, and it is stable to play it out. Episode 044, Tachibana, you are going to drive those rude guys like Kawanobi crazy tilde. As a teammate in junior high school, Nonishi Ryozo was completely confused, whether it was the opponent's series of control or the sudden stop shot during the control. Nonishi Ryozo. This kid. When did he have such an offensive method? Kawanobi's round. After Nonishi Ryozo came to the front court, he also chose to single out Tachibana Nijiro. At this time, Kawanobi's students were cheering for Nonishi Ryozo crazily. Kill him. Nonishi, score on his head. Show him some color. Nonishi Ryozo listened to the cheers around him, his blood gradually boiled, and he skillfully changed his body in front of the body, trying to shake Tachibana Nijiro's center of gravity, so as to gain the upper hand in offense and defense. But it was obvious that he miscalculated, and miscalculated outrageously. Tachibana Nijiro's current defense was quite restrained for Nonishi Ryozo. Under the constantly changing offensive rhythm, Nonishi Ryozo still couldn't get rid of Tachibana Nijiro's defense. At this moment, Tachibana Nijiro suddenly launched an attack and rushed forward. Nonishi Ryozo wanted to turn around to protect the ball, but Tachibana Nijiro was one step ahead of him. Snap! Steal! It was not the interception of the pass by the team analysis spider web that had just started and had not yet been completed. But, Wild Tiger. With the deterrence of a tiger, high concentration of attention, and completely relying on intuitive movements, Tachibana Nijiro used extremely fast and instinctive reaction speed to intercept Nonishi Ryozo's ball control. The ball fell from his hand. Nonishi Ryozo was stunned. What happened? It's only been a short time since the end of junior high school, and I feel like a completely different person. In the first round, Nonishi Ryozo was intercepted by Tachibana Nijiro, which was completely beyond his expectation, but Tachibana Nijiro could not care about Nonishi Ryozo's shock psychological activities, because he had already rushed to the front with the ball. Damn it! Stop! In the audience stands, Kawanobi's students were all in disbelief. Nonishi Ryozo, who had always been calm since joining the team, was actually intercepted by this guy. The more shocked Kawanobi's students were, the more excited the Ryonan students were. Everyone raised their cheering props and cheered for Tachibana Nijiro's performance that completely overwhelmed his opponent. It was a one-on-one duel at the beginning, which was the most violent and most exciting content of the game. On the court, Nonishi Ryozo desperately chased, but he couldn't catch up at all. Tachibana Nijiro went straight to the penalty area. Under the expectant eyes of all Ryonan students, Tachibana Nijiro did not disappoint him with a Kagami Tiger-style overhand dunk. Bang tilde. He jumped up with all his strength and pushed the ball into the basket with his excellent bounce. After the goal, Tachibana Nijiro did not make any celebration gestures, but rather gentlemanly caught up with the ball that was about to bounce out of the court. Coincidentally, Nonishi Ryozo, who was a step late, also caught up. So, Tachibana Nijiro politely put the ball in Nonishi Ryozo's hands and turned back to defend. Click tilde. Aida Yayoi on the sidelines seized the opportunity. The shutter was pressed, and the famous painting was born. This moment, under the stimulation of the flash, Nonishi Ryozo came back to his senses and tightly grasped the ball in his hand. Sometimes, the other party's seemingly polite behavior is more uncomfortable than the arrogant celebration. For example, now, maybe Tachibana Nijiro did not have such an idea, but Tachibana Nijiro's behavior made all the students of Kawanobi present feel that this was a kind of sneer at them. Damn! Staring at Tachibana Nijiro, the students of Kawanobi were furious. Then there was a booing. Sendoh high-fived Tachibana Nijiro, who was returning to defense. Looking around, he couldn't help laughing. Tachibana, you are going to drive those impolite guys of Kawanobi crazy tilde. Tachibana Nijiro looked innocent and said, what does it have to do with me? I was very polite to give the ball to him. Yeah tilde. You're right tilde. Off the court. Ryonan on the bench. Tachibana is really. Isogai Yoji exclaimed, too domineering. That's good. The team really needs a character like this. It's not good to have all good kids. Baochuan Tsutomu echoed Isogai Yoji's praise. Both of them admired Tachibana Kojiro's approach very much, because they knew that some teams were like this, and when necessary, they needed such an attitude. On the court, Kawanobi's turn. Nonishi Ryozo glared at Tachibana Kojiro fiercely. Tachibana Kojiro. Don't be proud, it's just a ball, don't think you won. He was so eager to save face that he actively refused his teammates' cover, and then used dribbling to mobilize Tachibana Kojiro's center of gravity, but the result was still similar to the previous round. Whoosh tilde. Nonishi Ryozo couldn't hold it in anymore, burst out with all his strength, and moved his body to attack from the side. But Tachibana Kojiro, who was wild, was obviously not as fast as his opponent in defense. With his beast-like intuitive movements and super-fast reactions, he defended his opponent tightly. Nonishi Ryozo was tightly entangled by Tachibana Nijiro. No matter how he changed direction, turned around, or faked, he could not escape Tachibana Nijiro's defense. There was already undisguised surprise on his face, because he couldn't figure it out anyway. When he was in junior high school, he could easily shake off Tachibana Nijiro and make this simple-minded guy feel hopeless. But now, why has Tachibana Nijiro changed so much compared to junior high school? At this time, Nonishi Ryozo had already despaired that Tachibana Nijiro's defense was completely covering him. There was no way, so he had to choose to pass the ball. The small forward on the side received the ball. His offensive ability was not bad, but this ball was delayed by Nonishi Ryozo for so long, and the one defending him was Ikegami Ryoji, who specialized in Ryonan defense. Kawanobi, the small forward, could only force a turnaround jump shot. Under the defense of Ikegami Ryoji, the ball was ridiculously off. Boom tilde. Uozumi easily won the rebound battle with the opponent. Attack and defense alternated. When Tachibana Nijiro received the pass from Uzumi, he had already started to accelerate. Counterattack is his specialty. Thanks to the outstanding passing vision of the command tower, and the super high passing level of the perfect pass, Tachibana Nijiro can always pass the ball to the most suitable person comfortably and accurately in the fleeting process of fast counterattack. Sendoh and Funahashi Daisuke, flying on the left and right wings, together with Tachibana Nijiro, formed a 3-2 situation in the front court. In this case, the more Kawanobi struggled, the more excited Tachibana Nijiro was. A head-turning fake move, showing off the defense in front of him, the defensive players subconsciously followed Tachibana Nijiro's side and shifted their attention to Funahashi Daisuke. Tachibana Nijiro shook his wrist, and the ball appeared in Sendoh's hands in the blink of an eye. A pass without looking at people. Sendoh glided directly. Bang tilde. A powerful one-arm flying dunk. Ryonan immediately roared excitedly on the bench. Episode 45. Why did he shoot 2 points from the three-point line? If he just took half a step, it would be a three-pointer. The audience of Nobi High School in the stands had mixed feelings. This ball was indeed beautiful. It was incredible that Sendoh could do such a dunk as a freshman. Tachibana Nijiro, who fooled everyone with a pass without looking at anyone, was even more clever. But what they originally wanted to see was how Nonishi Ryozo defeated Tachibana Nijiro. They didn't expect Tachibana Nijiro to have such a performance and change of position, which disappointed them greatly. This pass. On the bench, Baochuan couldn't help but say, "This head-shaking action is so realistic that I was shaken by him on the sidelines. So strong." From what Nonishi Ryozo passed, it seems that Tachibana's level was very average when he was in junior high school. It seems that he relied on his hard work to reach his current level. Everyone thought of the fact that during the expedition, Tachibana Nijiro would appear in the gym on time at 5 in the morning. Indeed, 3 o'clock in the morning is too scary. Huh? Isn't it 5 o'clock? 3 o'clock. Anyway, that's what Ms. Aida wrote. Forget it. Don't you know what Tachibana said in an interview? 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and 10 kilometers of running every day. Do you believe it? Not long after Kawanobi High School called a timeout, Nonishi Ryozo also calmed down. The team's overall offense improved slightly, but the game was still firmly controlled by Ryonan. Nonishi Ryozo used his teammates' cover to finally score the first goal of the game, but this could not change the situation. Tachibana Nijiro had an overwhelming advantage in the strongest first-year battle with his old teammate. Ryonan's overall strength was already superior, and Nonishi Ryozo, the strongest first-year student in Kawanobi, was also locked by Tachibana Nijiro. At the end of the half, Ryonan led by nearly 30 points 64-36. Such a difference is enough to see the gap between the two teams. In the matchup between Tachibana Nijiro and Nonishi Ryozo, Tachibana Nijiro had an overall advantage, taking 7 shots, hitting 6 balls, and getting comprehensive data of 12 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 steals and 3 blocks, while Nonishi Ryozo only got 4 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists and 4 turnovers. Obviously, no matter who can make an intuitive judgment, Tachibana Nijiro is the better one. Tachibana Nijiro is outstanding in both personal offense and defense and team rhythm control, and compared with Shinichi Maki and Fujima Kenji, he is another style. Nonishi Ryozo is a level lower than Tachibana Nijiro. He is suppressed on both offense and defense. Tachibana Nijiro's strength is definitely at the level of Kanagawa's best lineup. And the overall style of play is still a point guard who passes more than offense, and he is not as steady as a freshman. This year's Ryonan has a lot to do. In the audience stands, many teams who came to watch the game made their own comments. In fact, although Tachibana Kojiro's strength has been reported in weekly basketball, however, in terms of the scope of dissemination, whether it is the habit of reading weekly magazines, the length of the current issue, or many people's doubts about the authenticity of the text, it is easy to be buried in it. It is far better to see his outstanding performance directly like on the spot. Many coaches of teams, thinking of Tachibana Kojiro's unknown status in junior high school, can't help but envy Taoka Moiki's good luck this year. The genius Sendoh from Tokyo is fine, but this local Tachibana Kojiro is simply delivered to the door for free. TSK tilde. Damn it. Ryonan was very relaxed during the halftime break. Funahashi Daisuke smiled and congratulated Tachibana Kojiro, unilaterally announcing his great victory. Then unexpectedly, Taoka Moiki's instructions for Tachibana Kojiro in the second half. As long as you can stabilize the rhythm, you should attack with all your strength. The second half started soon. During the halftime break, Nonishi Ryozo obviously received further instructions from the coach. His playing style became more organized, and he actively cooperated with the inside duo instead of simply wanting to have a one-on-one duel with Tachibana Nijiro. Tachibana Nijiro can fully accept this change. As long as Nonishi Ryozo doesn't score, nothing else can affect Tachibana Nijiro's mission. On the court, boom, Tachibana Nijiro missed the shot. However, he tried the three-pointer with the wide-range shooting, although the skill description said, can shoot from any position within the three-point line. All the basic moves are also known, but the hit rate is average. But as he shot, perhaps because he got the feeling, Tachibana Nijiro felt that he could extend it to the three-point line. And then, he was wrong. This skill description is really stuck in the words. Once out of the three-point line, the three-pointer attribute of 82 points, the shooting hot zone is terribly less than the wide-range shooting within the three-point line. The hit rate is not like the wide-range shooting, which is fixed at normal, which can fully play the 82 feet mid-range shooting attribute. In addition, the difficulty of three-point shooting is higher than that of two-point shooting. Even if they are both 82 feet attributes, under normal circumstances, the hit rates cannot be compared at all. Therefore, when Tachibana Kojiro came up in the second half and tried three-point shooting, his hit rate fluctuated, and there were more ups and downs. After several misses, Tachibana Kojiro looked at Nonishi Ryozo in front of him with a smile of, "You're showing your true colors," and he also smiled. On the side of Ryonan High School, of course, no one would think that Tachibana Kojiro, whose number of misses was in sharp contrast to the 7 out of 6 in the first half, was in a good mood. They thought he was pretending. The Ryonan students in the stands laughed. Do you think you are the strongest freshman just because you scored a few goals in the first half? You are an ignorant guy. Your true colors are showing. I was just lucky in the first half. Whole Tachibana Kojiro. In the court, Ryonan's teammates didn't say much. This was based on the previous training matches, including the first round of the county competition, Tachibana Nijiro's super stability. They believed that Tachibana would be able to adjust quickly. Kawanobe's offense. The power forward missed the jump shot, and Funabashi Daisuke got the rebound. In the offense and defense transition, Tachibana Nijiro pushed forward with the ball, and Kawanobe's defense was very fast. They followed Sendoh and Ikegami Ryoji who were running fast, but Tachibana Nijiro shot directly at the three-point line, no, at the extreme two-point position of the three-point line. Ha 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 tilde. Good, just shoot like this. This was the reaction of Kawanobe's audience. In their opinion, this shot, which was almost the same as a long-range three-point shot, had a considerable chance of missing. However, combined with the previous situation, it should have been a very reluctant shot, but it was ridiculously accurate. Swish tilde. A hollow hit. It's time to get lucky. Kawanobe's students comforted themselves. However, they did not realize that this was the beginning of the nightmare. In the next round, Tachibana Nijiro came to the 45-degree angle again, and used a completely different jump shot from the previous jump shot, and quickly shot a two-point shot on the three-point line. The basketball went into the net. What a joke, it can go in like this. The shooting action is different from before. Are you not afraid at all? So strange. Why did he shoot 2 points on the three-point line? Just move back half a step and it will be a three-pointer. Amid the discussion of the audience, Tachibana Nijiro has no doubt about the rigor of the skills, and at the same time, he has no doubt about the full hot zone within the three-point line of the wide-range shooting. Shooting like this is just like using the 82 mid-range shooting attribute, finding the most accurate place to shoot in shooting training, and swishing in. The only difference is that the wide-range shooting is all the most accurate places to shoot. Episode 046, Non-Staff Player, Aida Riko, Skills, Data I, Training Menu. In the next round, Tachibana Nijiro continued his operations within the three-point line. There seemed to be no limit to the position and distance of the shot, and Tachibana Nijiro used various basic shooting moves brought by the wide-range shooting. Shooting was like free, and it made Kawanobe's players numb. Ryonan's round. Kawanobe had focused all his attention on Tachibana Nijiro's shooting, and even arranged a double team, but Tachibana Nijiro just pointed to the position where the baseline was almost at a negative angle to the backboard. "I will shoot there next tilde." Such arrogant words made Nonishi Ryozo sneer. However, Tachibana Nijiro really shot from that position in the next round. Nonishi Ryozo's defense was already in place, but the combination of perfect control, plus wide-range shooting, still allowed the ball to pass his fingertips. Swish tilde. The ball went into the net. Turning around, he saw Aida Yayoi on the sidelines. Almost at the moment when the ball went into the net, Tachibana Nijiro made an Anthony-style three-finger temple celebration to Aida Yayoi, who was holding a camera. The third quarter ended. Tachibana Nijiro, who made 8 of 10 shots in a single quarter, directly led the game to the final stage with his shooting performance in the third quarter. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, both sides replaced the substitute lineup. In the end, Ryonan maintained the crushing momentum to the end and defeated Kawanobe High School 124-69. Tachibana Nijiro played well, scoring 33 points, 5 rebounds, 13 assists, 5 steals and 5 blocks in 3 quarters. Especially in the third quarter, Tachibana Nijiro's 80% hit rate plus free throws, and a single quarter shooting performance of 21 points shocked everyone. Compared with Tachibana Nijiro, Nonishi Ryozo only got 7 points, 4 rebounds and 5 assists. In this, first-year strongest battle, matchup decided by old teammates, Tachibana Nijiro won an overwhelming victory. After the game, Aida Yayoi, who was targeting Ryonan this year, used her best comparison method to interview Nonishi Ryozo of Kawanobe High School. Obviously, Nonishi Ryozo was in a very low mood and felt very uncomfortable being suppressed by Tachibana Nijiro. When asked by Aida Yayoi what he thought of Tachibana Nijiro's performance, Nonishi Ryozo completely lost control. He said angrily, "What do I think? Our journey in the county competition has stopped here, what else can I say? Damn it." Nonishi Ryozo lost control of his emotions, and after a rather unhappy cold snort, he turned around and left with a look of disappointment. However, whether Nonishi Ryozo accepted Aida Yayoi's interview or not, it would not affect him becoming a stepping stone for Tachibana Nijiro to go national in Aida Yayoi's writing. On the other side, Tachibana Nijiro was praised by Aida Yayoi for his wonderful performance, but then he accepted Aida Yayoi's serious interview. When the other party asked why he shot so many balls today, Tachibana Nijiro smiled slightly and said mysteriously, "I usually have special shooting practice. Although I was a little nervous at one time, I still played at my level later. In fact, compared to a point guard, I am still a shooter." After finishing Aida Yayoi's interview, Tachibana Nijiro returned to school with the Ryonan team. At this time, he finally had time to toss the task reward. Card ticket task. In the second round of the county competition with Kawanobe High School, suppress Nonishi Ryozo's score to single digits. Card ticket task has been completed, and the reward has been loaded. Get the reward, card drawing ticket times 10 feet. Card pull task. Defeat the opponent in the second round of the county competition with Kawanobe High School and win the game. Card pull task has been completed, and the reward has been loaded. Limited time, non-staff player, card pool has been opened. The current number of card tickets, plus the existing 8 cards, has returned to a total of 18 draws, and the players that appeared in the card pool made Tachibana Nijiro's eyes widen. Around the familiar unknown gold card, the 3 purple cards are Satsuki Momoai, Aida Riko, and Araki Masako. Tachibana Nijiro. So it's such a non-staff player. But compared to the serious black basketball players, if these 3 people are drawn, they may be able to obtain some auxiliary abilities outside the court. For example, Momoi's intelligence-gathering ability, Aida's data eyes. As the coach of Yosen and a former national player, Araki Masako seems to have a certain ability to predict the development of the game by analyzing data. But to be honest, these are not particularly necessary for Tachibana Nijiro. So, Tachibana Nijiro once again used the single draw method. Zheng tilde. First draw tilde. Zheng tilde. Second draw tilde. Zheng tilde. The third draw tilde. When Tachibana Nijiro's baseline was set to 5 draws, he succeeded in getting the purple card in the third draw. Player, Seirin Aida Riko, initial up pointing arrow. Skills, data eye, initial up pointing arrow. Training menu, initial up pointing arrow. Data eye, initial up pointing arrow. Possessing a data eye that can display data, currently viewable range, limited to the host, effect, personal attribute value, accurate to 3 decimal places. Training menu, initial up-pointing arrow, create a training menu suitable for the player through the obtained data, and bring accelerated improvement in strength with professional guidance. Sure enough, when Tachibana Nijiro obtained Aida Riko in the system, all the attributes of the personal attribute panel were extended backwards, accurate to 3 decimal places. At the same time, Tachibana Nijiro subconsciously gave birth to the most suitable training methods for these attributes in his mind. Tachibana Nijiro. Wonderful. Compared with the usual training, it is difficult to see the changed attributes directly. Now it is accurate to 3 decimal places, so you can see the gains brought by training at all times. Although it is just such a small change, the significance it brings is completely different. Take the 3-point attribute as an example. When there was no Aida Riko, the attribute was 3.82 feet, and now it is 3.82.589. Obviously, compared with the difficulty in the single digits, the 3 digits behind will definitely change in the usual training. Practice will be effective. Nothing can be more inspiring than this. Leaving the school happily, on the way home, Tachibana Nijiro found that students from other schools who passed by were talking about him quietly. Although it is far from the original plot that Shinichi Maki can still be sought after when he goes to Aichi Prefecture, it is thanks to Nonishi Ryozo's pre-match loudspeaker to warm up the strongest first grade. Tachibana Nijiro, who has been on the weekly basketball twice, has received less attention than the second round of the county competition with Kawanobi, and has immediately entered the field of vision of most Kanagawa High School basketball audiences. Episode 047, not sure if it was an illusion, but they seemed to see a tiger. Ryonan Arena. With a data eye, Tachibana Nijiro can see his progress in real time. Even without the training acceleration card produced by the system, he can clearly see the increase of his ability value on the system after ordinary shooting training or dribbling practice. Although the increase is only the last 2 digits. But in this way, Tachibana Nijiro's investment in training is greater than that of all Ryonan players. No man will refuse the pleasure of becoming stronger. Tachibana Nijiro first warmed up for half an hour, and then started the ball-holding training, including breakthroughs, shooting, attacking the basket, etc. Bang tilde. Just then, the door of the arena was pushed open. What surprised Tachibana Nijiro was that the person who came was Sendoh, and Tachibana Nijiro's ball fell directly. Huh? What's wrong? Sendoh saw Tachibana Nijiro standing there in a daze, and asked strangely. Ah, you're here quite early. Tachibana Nijiro recovered, stretched out his hand to greet Sendoh, and then continued, come to train? In Tachibana Nijiro's impression, Sendoh, a freshman, still doesn't like training. You guy, what's that look in your eyes? Is it strange that I come to train? And it's not just me. After Sendoh made way, Fukuda Kiku, Uekusa Tomoyuki, and Koshino Hiroaki followed closely. Koshino Hiroaki looked unhappy and muttered, damn, I came early enough, but I still lost. Is that 3 o'clock in the morning gym true? On the other side, although I don't know what these guys who are not dead are crazy about. But it's not a bad thing to have someone to train with in the early morning. The next day, it's the day of the county meeting. The audience quickly filled the gym. Ryonan's opponent today, Uekusa High School, was like the late stage of the Mi County expedition, and even the mission could not be triggered. Until the end of the 3rd quarter, Ryonan continued to attack under the leadership of Tachibana Nijiro. The score was 92-36. At the beginning of the 4th quarter, Ryonan served the ball, and Tachibana Nijiro held the ball to organize the offense. The stable ball control skills that matched the man and the ball, just like the first 3 quarters, frequently caused Uekusa High School's defense to be in a state of emergency. For a while, Uekusa High School was in a state of panic. Tachibana Nijiro found the offensive route and passed the ball to Sendoh. How to describe this attack? It seemed to be blocked, but not completely blocked. Because the missed shot of this ball seemed to have nothing to do with the defense of the position, it was simply the fluctuation of Sendoh's shooting hit rate. After all, even in shooting training, there will always be missed shots. After the ball hit the basket, it bounced to the top of Uezumi's head under the basket. Rebound. Miyako High School ace, Mizumi Jiyu shouted. As soon as the voice fell, Miyako High School's inside line quickly moved towards the rebound, but for Uezumi, this ball was not challenging at all. As soon as he opened his body and reached out, he grabbed the rebound. At the same time, Tachibana Nijiro had already prepared, and cooperated with Uezumi's movements, actively exposing himself to the opponent's field of vision. Glimpsing Tachibana's movements and seeing the opponent's gestures at the same time, Uezumi was stunned for a moment, avoiding the pressing of the defensive players around him, and flicked towards the defense pointed by the opponent. Then, a pass that was obviously higher than the height of the basket flew to Tachibana Nijiro. Mizuki Jiyu. Alley-oop? Stop him. This time, before Mizuki Jiyu could speak, the players in the interior had already reacted. Then, one in front and two behind, three people jumped at Tachibana Nijiro at the same time, with ferocious faces, as if they would not stop until they took him down. They knew that it was impossible to win the game, not even a single chance, but facing Tachibana Nijiro, who had created their current miserable situation, their defense was not only to stop Tachibana Nijiro from scoring, but also to save the honor of the entire team. In an instant, dense arms, a pair of protective arms, blocked Tachibana Nijiro's way. The three people who intercepted in the air like an iron wall blocked the incandescent lights on the dome of the stadium. But when Tachibana Nijiro faced such defense from the opponent, after catching the ball in the air, his expression did not fluctuate at all, and his posture in the air did not show any timidity at the moment of contact. Wild, bounce talent. The right shoulder pulled the arm apart, and the body bent in the air, like a crescent moon. Immediately afterwards, a dunk. Bang tilde. The ball was slammed in. The center of Miyako High School felt the touch of the basketball in his hand, and his excited heart suddenly jumped, but the next moment, he changed color again, because in the competition of strength, as a center, he actually lost. He tried desperately to press the ball down, but the huge impact force made his hand unable to press it even a little bit, and he was uncontrollably separated to both sides. Finally, the basketball broke through the block. Tachibana Nijiro fiercely pressed it to the back of his head. Bang tilde, bang tilde, bang tilde. Bang tilde. Along with the vibration of the basket, there was also the muffled sound of the three blocking teams from Miyakoshi High School falling to the ground. They sat on the ground and looked up. The light shone on Tachibana Nijiro's hair, rustling along the hair. In the strands of light, they didn't know if it was an illusion, but they seemed to see a tiger. Wu tilde. Miyakoshi High School is still very courageous. No. Tachibana Nijiro has been organizing the offense, at most shooting shots, which almost made me forget that his offensive ability is not to be underestimated, and his jumping and confrontation are also super exaggerated. The game between Ryonan and Miyakoshi High School has entered the end. The scoreboard outside the court clearly shows the current score, 117-41. Just when Tachibana Nijiro slowed down the pace and waited for the end, a noisy sound suddenly sounded in the audience stands not far away. Is it Amu from Kainan, who specializes in investigating Ryonan? How is it possible? Shinichi Maki? Last year's super rookie. Yes, that dark-skinned guy, that's him, Shinichi Maki. At first, Tachibana Nijiro didn't pay attention to the noise outside the field, until he heard the three words, Shinichi Maki. He looked in that direction unconsciously. It's not because of anything else, but simply because he was particularly impressed by this guy who had to fight Shohoko 4-1 in the original plot. Episode 048, he also wanted to receive that pass and hear everyone's cheers. Over the past month, Tachibana Nijiro gradually felt that he had integrated into this world. He would not feel out of place when he saw Sendoh, Uozumi and others every day, but when Shinichi Maki appeared in front of him again, the sense of out of place in his heart quietly gathered again. TSK, Emperor Mew. Tachibana Nijiro skayed, and the next second, he jumped up suddenly. On the court. As the game was coming to an end, the rhythm of the game became less tense than before, but this was all because Tachibana Nijiro deliberately held back. After all, with a 60-point advantage, it would be a bit impolite for Tachibana Nijiro to exert his full strength again, of course, without any special mission requirements. But Tachibana Nijiro's indulgence seemed to give his opponents some illusions, so that some people began to get restless, such as the power forward who had almost no presence in the game, who suddenly became active while Ryonan was showing mercy. At this time, the ball had been passed to him, facing Tachibana Nijiro, who was no longer targeting Miyako's high and low lines and almost retreated to the penalty area to squat and paddling. I don't know what this guy is thinking. He raised his butt and started to arch his back towards Tachibana Nijiro. But, just talking about the physical consumption. The bounce and strength of this power forward are far from what they were at the beginning. Tachibana Nijiro felt that if it was the first half, this guy might be able to complete a slam dunk, but now, even if he didn't defend, he could only dunk at most. So, although it looks like he is very fierce in back-to-back defense, it is just an empty shell. The vision of the command tower allowed Tachibana Nijiro to glimpse the center of Miyako High School at the same time. The center, standing in front of Uzumi, looked lost, which made the heart of the power forward in front of Tachibana Nijiro big. Swish tilde. The shoes and the ground produced strong friction. The next second, Tachibana Nijiro's body suddenly rose up, facing the opponent, and blocked the opponent's dunk with both hands. Wildness plus natural bounce broke out again. Overhand block. Tachibana Nijiro's eyes flashed. He had no prediction of the trajectory of the opponent's dunk. It was all the extreme reaction of wildness to the improvisation and the height of talented jumping. Bang tilde. A dull echo. Tachibana Nijiro reacted very quickly to adjust the block and accurately blocked the ball. The power forward of Miyako High School only felt the ball slip out of his hand and flew out quickly. Whoosh tilde. The basketball passed through a surging ray and hit the guardrail in front of the audience. Behind the railing was Shinichi Maki, who was watching the game there. At this moment, Shinichi Maki looked at Tachibana Nijiro with some surprise in his eyes. He smiled slightly. Then quickly, with the referee's whistle, he stood up and left the audience. Tachibana Nijiro on the court didn't pay much attention, because when the referee blew the whistle, he gathered with his teammates and came to the center circle to shake hands with the opponent. The game was over. Ryonan High School broke through the third round with a score of 125-44. After the game, Yuzumi, Ikegami and others were very excited, because now they have reached last year's results, but in terms of difficulty, they didn't feel any challenge at all. Coach Taroka Moiki's face has been smiling more and more since Tachibana and Sendoh joined the team this year. Although Ryonan High School is not a basketball giant like Kainan Shoyo, as a coach, it is impossible for him not to think about going further, such as taking Ryonan High School to the whole country, such as winning the national competition. When he thought of this, Taroka Moiki's heart was burning. There is a high possibility. Watching Tachibana Nijiro shake hands with his distraught opponents, the familiar scene once again ignited the wildfire hidden deep in his heart, and with Tachibana Nijiro as the source, his ambitions burned wildly. Outside the Kanagawa Prefectural Gymnasium, everyone got on the Ryonan school bus and was taken back to school by the driver. Taroka Moichi made a brief post-match summary of the game. After getting off the bus, he immediately dispersed and let everyone go home. When leaving, Taroka Moichi knew that Tachibana Nijiro had begun to control the morning of the gym again during this period, and he also brought several first-year students with him, so he specifically told Tachibana Nijiro not to be too nervous. Tachibana Nijiro nodded happily, but in the next few days, he continued to let himself go, training crazily with the data eye, and the remaining, training acceleration cards. Tense? How could it be? Simply because the numbers are visible to the naked eye. Besides, the opponent in the next round is Manoa High School, the owner of the shoe store. As an opponent, although the opponent's ancestors were rich and played in the county finals with Kainan. But that was 16 years ago. After that, they were never seen in the county quarterfinals and semifinals. At least that's the original plotline. So Tachibana Nijiro doesn't have to worry about the impact on physical fitness when he practices. Night. The park court near Ryonan High School. In the county meeting, Fukuda Kiku, who had been sitting on the bench without a chance, appeared here in the evening to practice defensive footwork after practicing with Tachibana Nijiro in the morning, in order to have a chance to play in the next game. He knew that his ability was only average in Ryonan's team, and his chances of playing were slim. However, when he sat on the bench and watched Ryonan play smooth basketball under the leadership of Tachibana, he could not help but feel a strong desire in his heart. He also wanted to receive that pass. And then, he wanted to hear everyone's cheers. Then, Fukuda Kiku faced the moonlight and started a new round of defensive steps. Although he was clumsy and swayed from side to side like a crab, he took firm steps under his half-closed misty eyes. Episode 049, Fukuda's first battle, Manoa High School's offense is constipated. In the first quarter of the fourth round of Ryonan, Tachibana Nijiro was pressed on the bench. Except for Sendoh, the starting players on the court were all senior players of Ryonan. Perhaps, the first quarter was a proof of the improvement and redemption of the seniors' strength after being eliminated in the fourth round last year. Or perhaps, the first quarter was simply a punishment for Tachibana Nijiro, who sneaked into the office every morning and took away the keys to the stadium. But in short, it can be seen that Tachibana Nijiro's absence has a great impact on Ryonan. The smooth offense is gone, and it has become an obscure singles. The most terrible thing is that Yuzumi actually wants to cooperate with Sendoh, but he has no way to do it. The two of them took turns to play singles, and they played timidly, thinking of giving the other side more ball rights, which affected the offensive efficiency. Even though Ryonan was ahead of Manoa in the score, the Ryonan students in the stands and Aida Yayoi on the sidelines had already begun to miss Tachibana Nijiro. At this moment, everyone was extremely clear about the role of Tachibana Nijiro in the team. His passing and control were undoubtedly the engine of the core of Ryonan. At the end of the first quarter, Ikegami Ryoji clearly felt that the atmosphere of the team was not as active as before, especially Sendoh, but this was normal. As a scoring ace, if he was indifferent to the result when Tachibana was on the court, there would be a big problem. Ikegami Ryoji quietly retracted his gaze. At the same time, he thought, facts have proved that a good point guard is really too important. If there is a connection with Tachibana, everyone will be more comfortable. For Sendoh and Yuzumi, it's okay, but for himself and Captain Funabashi, it's a world of difference whether there is Tachibana or not. Just when Ikegami Ryoji thought of this, things that were not unexpected and unexpected to him happened at the same time. Hokawa. Ikegami, you guys go off the court temporarily in the second quarter, let Tachibana and Fukuda come on. Fukuda Kiku, bang tilde. Fukuda, who got playing time in the second quarter, stood up suddenly and kicked down the supply box beside him. Uekusa Tomoyuki on the side was envious. Although Fukuda always felt that his own strength was average, in fact, with a height of 186 centimeters and athletic ability, the opponent's chances were much greater than his own. And as a point guard, he saw it more clearly. He could imagine that Fukuda's offensive ability would definitely shine with Tachibana. The only problem, it was just defense. Fukuda has been training hard recently, but that is not something that can be achieved overnight. Ryonan, center Uozumi, Omae Funahashi, small forward Fukuda, shooting guard Sendoh, point guard Tachibana, the height of this combination is close to next year's Shoyo. Beep, the whistle sounded, and the game began. Fukuda Kiku nervously passed the ball to Tachibana Nijiro, who received the ball and moved forward steadily. Manoa point guard rushed over to interfere, but Tachibana Nijiro did not stick to the ball and passed it to Uozumi. Uozumi was facing the opponent's center, or most of Kanagawa's centers, which was an advantage. He had advantages in height and confrontation. The other players of Ryonan naturally cleared one side to create space for Uozumi to play one-on-one. A standard reckless man played with his back to the basket, and then scored 2 points with his signature two-handed dunk. In terms of skills alone, he was weaker than Akagi Takanori of the same class, but being weaker than Akagi did not mean he was really weak. Next round, Manoa also passed the ball to the power forward who was asking for the ball in the low post. Manoa's power forward is somewhat similar to Hanagata's shooting and scoring big man, plus a good wingspan. It is difficult for Funabashi Daisuke to complete the block, and he can only interfere as much as possible. However, the defense is in place. But it lacks a little luck, or it may be that the opponent is really hot. Swish tilde. The ball goes into the net. Manoa's power forward is against Funabashi Daisuke's defense, and he hits a shot with a little backward. Ryonan's round. Tachibana Nijiro is not in a hurry to play, he continues to observe the situation on the court. At the top of the arc, he gave Sendoh a hand-to-hand pass, and he blocked the player defending Sendoh to one side of his body. Sendoh took advantage of the situation to rush into the paint area, and the Manoa power forward who was defending could not keep up with Sendoh's lateral movement speed, and easily made a layup. After the opening, Tachibana Nijiro played well, and Ryonan played very well. On the positive side, Sendoh and Uzumi attacked more resolutely than in the first quarter. With Tachibana Nijiro dominating the ball, the two did not hesitate after receiving the pass from Tachibana Nijiro. On the negative side, Ryonan still did not get rid of the mode of relying on Uzumi and Sendoh's individual singles, and Tachibana Nijiro did not immediately lead the team to play a mercury-filled attack. But soon, after a few rounds of practical experience, Tachibana Nijiro began. First, Team Analysis Spiderweb began to intercept the pass from Manoa's backline in the assist defense. Manoa High School retreated quickly, and after Tachibana Nijiro came to the front court, he once again used his signature, almost no pre-action pass, and suddenly made a fake move to deceive everyone. He looked at Uzumi under the basket, and after the fake pass moved the defender's footsteps to Uzumi's side, he immediately passed the ball to Fukuda Kiku outside the wing paint area. Fukuda Kiku was stunned for a moment, then he took a big step and shot near the basket in the restricted area, but even so, the ball still went into the net. After scoring the goal, Fukuda Kiku was quietly excited, glanced at the audience stands, and carefully waved his fist. Seeing this scene, the Ryonan students on the scene were also very excited. Although the newly replaced curly-haired shaggy head seemed to have some problems with his shooting choice, his cutting speed at the moment of attack was surprisingly fast. Off the court, the Ryonan players were not surprised that Fukuda cut into the basket instead of shooting a mid-range shot, because Fukuda's current technical ability is like this: even if he shoots, it is limited to the range near the basket. But relying on athletic ability, it may also be a talent for cutting into the technique. Fukuda's cutting into the basket is really amazing. However, it is still surprising that Tachibana Nijiro really played a ball with his passing ability, and chose to pass it to Fukuda first. Looking back, Manoa High School's offensive round. At the shooting guard position, Manoa's advantage is that he relies on his weight and height advantage in the low post, like his own power forward ace, to squeeze the defender to the position close to the basket, and with a simple back to the basket turnaround jump shot, he can basically eat up many weak shooting guards in the high school. However, he met a tough guy today. Akira Sendoh's height and weight are simply a monster among shooting guards, and he is not weak even if he is placed in the small forward and power forward positions. It is too difficult to squeeze in under Sendoh's defense. On the other side, it is even more difficult to open up the situation with his own point guard who can't even pass the ball. For a while, Manoa High School's offense fell into constipation. Episode 050, Taoka Moichi smiled on the sidelines, and Fukuda happened to notice it. Manoa High School's small forward made a forced shot and missed. Yuzumi was stuck under the basket. Tachibana Nijiro grabbed the rebound. Ryonan's offense and defense transition was very fast. Tachibana Nijiro grabbed the rebound and directly pushed forward to shorten the passing link in the middle. After the game rhythm was picked up, more offensive opportunities appeared. Soon came to the front court. At this time, Manoa's inside line had just been positioned. Fukuda stood at the top of the three-point arc under the command of Tachibana Nijiro, played a pick and roll for the opponent, and then went straight down. Tachibana Nijiro broke through with the help of a screen. After this wave of screens, he seized the opportunity of passing and cutting when the defense changed, and directly penetrated Manoa High School. Fukuda received Tachibana Nijiro's pass and easily dunked. Manoa High School fell into a scoring drought, but Ryonan played smoothly. In the next round, Tachibana Nijiro backed up and forced Manoa's point guard. After attracting the attention of Manoa High School's defense, he threw the ball lightly into the restricted area. Fukuda jumped high and received the ball comfortably. Bang! A very beautiful one-handed dunk. The scene was boiling, such an attack was really cool, and in this boiling, Fukuda also roared excitedly, and then immediately celebrated with Tachibana Nijiro. Funabashi Daisuke and Yuzumi on the side were full of envy. Obviously, they also wanted such a pass, while Sendoh on the other side was thoughtful. After Tachibana Nijiro used the spider web to help defend the leaky Fukuda intercept the ball, Sendoh received Tachibana Nijiro's pass again and hit a long two-pointer with precision guidance, and Manoa High School was stopped. Ryonan's Tachibana Nijiro came on, and Ryonan immediately felt completely changed. Sendoh opened up space on the outside, and Yuzumi was very intimidating under the basket. And the new number 15 is also very strong in offense. The most fatal thing is that Tachibana Nijiro's controllability is too great. The ability to fast break seems to be innate, and he can always find teammates in open positions. His style of play is very selfless, and it should be very comfortable to be a teammate with him. Why didn't Ryonan play like this in the first quarter? While the audience was discussing in the stands, the game continued. After attracting the defense, the Manoa power forward assisted the small forward and made a three-pointer facing Fukuda, which relieved Manoa High School. After changing sides, Sendoh took the initiative to open up space for Tachibana Nijiro on one side, and then Tachibana Nijiro used a magical back pass to pass the ball to Sendoh. At this time, Sendoh's defender had already been taken away by Tachibana Nijiro. A wide open space. Sendoh was stunned for a moment, then he released the ball smoothly, and the basketball drew an arc. Swish! A hollow hit. When Tachibana Nijiro high-fived Sendoh, Sendoh was still thinking about the attack just now. How did this ball get past? This ball is too difficult, very bold and imaginative. From the perspective of a point guard, Tachibana Nijiro's passing ability is impeccable, and his court vision is great. Would you pass such a ball? No, with my height, I can't find teammates in this position. Tachibana Nijiro's height gives him a great advantage in court vision. Even if I knew Sendoh was in that position, I wouldn't use such a risky method. Although Tachibana Nijiro's technique looks super simple and efficient, his passing is full of personality. Many other teams who came to watch the game were discussing the pass made by Tachibana Nijiro just now. Manoa High School was in a tough battle. Ryonan played in a completely different style from the first quarter. They accelerated the speed of attack and defense conversion, and quickly pushed the fast break to counterattack after successfully defending. Although Yuzumi was not fast, other players such as Funabashi Daisuke, Sendoh, Fukuda, and Tachibana Nijiro were all very fast. On the other hand, Manoa High School had players with slow footsteps in the inside, some of whom could not keep up with Ryonan's rhythm. In addition, on the defensive end, Ryonan's overall size also had an advantage. The only loophole was Fukuda Kiku, and with the special care of Tachibana Nijiro's spiderweb, Ryonan gradually occupied an overwhelming advantage on the court. Soon, the second half of the game began. Ryonan's defense maintained a good intensity. Funabashi Daisuke and Uozumi guarded the inside line and did not let Manoa High School take advantage. Tachibana Nijiro's defense on the outside line also greatly restrained Manoa High School. Even Fukuda, who had a lot of problems in defense, was very focused. Fukuda played very easily in the offense. If he hadn't been focused on proving himself on the defensive end, he wouldn't even feel that he was sweating. Manoa High School's offense was delayed like this, and they fell into Ryonan's stranglehold. Their team, like Ryonan before, has always lacked an organizational core. Now they are in this dilemma, and they choose to give the ball to the team's ace at the power forward position to play a lot of singles. Manoa power forward shook off Funabashi Daisuke, but when he was about to shoot, Uezumi's long arms stretched out from the side again. The shot was greatly interfered. Manoa power forward adjusted the shooting angle. Although he avoided Uezumi's long arms, there was obviously something wrong with the aim. Tang tilde. The ball hit the basket and bounced out. Fukuda got the rebound, and he immediately started looking for Tachibana Nijiro. This is human nature. When Tachibana Nijiro kept giving assists to Fukuda, Fukuda had already regarded Tachibana Nijiro as his elder brother because of his strength and status. Fukuda's rebound. Your defensive focus is so high, Fukuda. On the bench, everyone was surprised. In their impression, Fukuda's defense was not only about skills, but also about habits. He often missed people because of his lack of concentration, but now, Fukuda has obviously changed. Taoka Moichi on the sideline smiled, and Fukuda happened to notice it. Fukuda. In the transition between offense and defense, Tachibana Nijiro held the ball and suppressed the rhythm. Funabashi Daisuke pulled out to give Tachibana Nijiro a screen, and Tachibana Nijiro cooperated with his captain. Taking advantage of the situation to break into the inside, pretending to pass the ball to Funabashi Daisuke, but flicked his wrist and passed the ball to Sendoh, who was slipping to the baseline, and the latter easily completed a dunk. Fukuda, who was standing by, saw clearly that when he received a pass from Tachibana, the offensive opportunities were often created by Tachibana's ability. However, Sendoh was able to follow Tachibana's thinking. He would actively create offensive opportunities and guide Tachibana's pass. Manoa High School was beaten and the coach immediately requested a timeout.